Okay, it seems we had some issues with the previous stream, but hopefully it should be fine now. I'll quickly check to make sure. Anyways, this is Santiago Zapata, and today we are going to continue the development of OpenArthurianX6.
To make
The
sure.
Yeah, seems to be working now. The engine to create computer role-playing games similar to Ultima 6 for modern platforms, I guess. And yesterday we finished Milestone 7. So we're going to continue with Milestone 8. And actually, yesterday we started taking a look at this and seeing what's going to be about. So let's dive into it. The first thing we're going to do is the fleeing AI. The idea is that when you attack, well, at least initially it's going to be triggered when you attack an animal, and well, he's going to flee. Right now, they are not changing their behavior, so they just continue wandering around randomly. We're going to change that so that they flee. Today we're going to split the stream. So I'm going to do a first one, 30 minutes, and then another one at the end of the day. Let's see how it goes. So here, for instance, let Camino join us, and then let's save the game here, and then let's attack this rat. But the problem okay, so let's do that. So we switch to combat mode, and then we attack the rat, and it just continues moving randomly. We want it to, instead of doing that, it should try to get away from danger, right? That's the idea behind the fleeing AI. So let's check and see. Let's take a look at our current AI implementation. That's in the mob class, and the way it works is there's a function called act, and what it does is if it can act, there's some logic here for the player state machine, but if in the end we check and see that it can act, then we execute the AI, and what execute AI does is, well, more checks to see if it should do nothing. Then there's the intent of the mob, and depending on the intent, we are providing here the possibility that there may be like a sub intent, but right now that's not being used. There's this sub intent is always going to be the same as the intent. Oh, actually no, this is changing. So maybe the mob may have an overall intent, um, but for this turn, it may have a different intent. So the intent is going to control like what's the mob actually going to do. And so if this is a prime member, then it can change the intent. And actually, this only applies if we are not in combat and we are a party member. Um, so yeah, we need to check out if we are in combat uh, and we have been attacked. So I think whenever a mob is hit, we're going to go check if it's going to panic. I think that's what we gotta do. We gotta add like a flag uh, that can be used to know if if we gotta flee. And I believe so. Let's see how the intent is set. I think the intent is like an overall thing that never changes. Um, Sick player. Yeah, it's like it's defined when the being is created. Um, And well, so here's this thing. So this is used, for example, on the first map because there's this bunch of soldiers and they are waiting there, waiting to see uh, to be activated in a hostile. So by default they are not hostile. They are just waiting there. But when we trigger that battle, they get hostile. I'm going to show you guys that happens here. So if you see all these guys that we meet here are just waiting there. You see, they are not doing anything. So their intent currently is wait command, not doing anything. But then when we get close, a conversation is triggered and they are activated. So their intent now is seek player, and then combat starts. But other than that, the intent doesn't change. So I believe we gotta work with the sub intent here, not the intent. And yeah, I think that's what we gotta do. So let's go back to the execute AI function. And then if we are panicking, so here's where we are switching the sub intent. Ultimately, we want to have something here like if the sub intent is fleeing, then do some stuff. Find the way out of danger. But we need to resolve how to go into this sub intent. And I think in general, if we are panicking and we see that there are enemies nearby, we should try to panic. So here's this thing. So if it's a party member, that it's a different thing because ultimately it's going to be like we're going to be able to set their tactic. That's like part of milestone 10, I believe, or 9. Um, so yeah, that's different. Now, if it's not a party member, then let's see this. I'm looking and seeing. So this function get nearby target. Okay, so there's a note here about neutral enemies. Neutral enemies will by default have no target. But this function, if it's neutral, it doesn't return any target. And there's some to-dos here. Okay. So before checking that, surviving is the most important. So always look for enemies first. But surviving may also entail fleeing, not always attacking back. Hi, Juanca. Juanca, how are you? So yeah, today we're working on some AI for enemies to flee when they are threatened. So let's do something here. If I am panicked, then I'm not going to look for any target. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to try to flee. And we are going to do something simple here. Let's change it so that let's always find the nearest target, even if we are neutral. So if we are neutral and we are panicked and we are not panicked, then yeah, we're just like wandering around, stuff like that. But if we are panicked, then we will still get the nearby target. The problem is that neutral enemies or neutral mobs don't should not check for the alignment of the other mob. Um, and yeah, let's check into this method, this function, get closer mob 2. I believe that alignment, uh, oh no, it's not. I thought it was like optional, but it doesn't seem to be optional. Huh. Okay. I believe one way we can do this is change the alignment of the being when he's attacked. So if he was attacked by um, enemies, they are not going to do that. But yeah, let's say that's possible. If they're attacked by an enemy, they are going to flee from enemies, and if they're attacked by the player, they will flee from the player and his party. Okay, so they will no longer be neutral. I mean, they're going to have like the other alignment, so we don't have to modify this. They are going to be of a given alignment, but they will be panicked. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the execute AI. So here they will no longer be neutral. If they are panicked, they will need to find a way to flee from the nearest flee from the nearest enemy. So we're going to get the target anyways. We're already doing that, okay? And we're going to go the other way. So if we are panicked, and we have a target, then intent is going to be flee. Did we use that? I don't know. Feeling flee. Yeah, because it's a verb. Seek, wander, flee. Okay. Wait. So okay. That should be enough here. I mean, in this block of code, we are just like defining the sub intent, or well, the intent for the being on this turn. So if we are panicked and there's a target, we're going to flee from that target. Else means we are not really panicked, but is there a nearby target, then we attack him because surviving is the most important. That's the priority here. But if there is no target and we are not panicked, then we check is the player nearby and are we tracking him? Then if we are not tracking him and if we are meant to seek the player but he's nowhere around, then we just wait for him to be around. All right. So yeah, we still need to set this flag and change the alignment when a neutral enemy is hit, and we probably have some detection already, some code already that works around the fact of being attacked. It's just that the mobs are not doing anything about it when they are attacked. Let's look for that, because that is where we should be starting combat probably when Yeah, okay. Okay, so here. This is a mob attacking another mob. We are marking it as attacked. If we are in world state, then we start combat, which is weird because, as I mentioned, this doesn't seem to happen when you attack um, an animal, right? For example, here, let's check into that. Let's here and let's attack our rat again. This is so weird. This is the same bug that we found yesterday. I don't understand why that is happening. Oh, okay, so it's like a part of the AI. Anyways, is in combat. Okay, no, we don't need to check into that. We need to check here. Okay, so if we attack the rat, oh, not talk, attack. Why is this not being called? What's the current state? Oh, so it's yeah. That's not how it's supposed to be because we're still in state 5. State 5 is probably targeting or something like that. Targeting, yeah. Because we are in state 5, that is why combat is not starting. But we should no longer be on state 5 because, I mean, we already target and picked our target. So yeah, that's not optimal here. Whereas when we are attacked, we are in state 1. That is why the transition does happen when we are attacked, but not when we attack someone. I mean, it's a bug, but on the other hand, I think we should, I mean, the transition to combat mode from our side should be manual probably, and we have a command for that. Um, so yeah, I think I would rather add something here. Um, okay, yeah, that's I had this question of whether this was being called or not when neutral mobs were being attacked, and I see it is being called. It's just that the transition is not happening. So we can just check here and see something like this, something simply like this. If our alignment is neutral, code, Visual Studio Code was going to be able to and then we are going to just panic and we are going to change alignment. So who attacked us? No, the whoever I attacked is neutral, then he is going to be panicked and he's going to be the opposite alignment. So something like this. If I am if I am an enemy, that's actually not happening right now, but let's supply that. Then the alignment of whoever I attacked is going to change to player. And else it's going to change to enemy, which is actually what's going to be happening most of the time. And yeah, that would cover this. Now we need to actually do the sub intent here, and it's like the opposite of. So here's this thing. We currently, I believe, we only seek the player. Let's see the combat sub intent. The combat sub intent executes the combat turn. No, this is like a hook prior to the combat turn, and then the combat action. Then it again gets the nearby target, which is not very optimal, but let's do something like that. But we want to get away from it. So if we are fleeing and there is no nearby target, we are just going to do something exactly the same as this. Probably I'm going to fix it so there's not that much duplicate code there. But if there is a nearby target, it's not really a target, it's nearby enemy. Because we're not going to target him. If there is not a nearby enemy, if there is a nearby enemy, then we are going to walk away from. And this bump towards, it's not that easy. Because it uses pathfinding. And what pathfinding does is like telling us the next step towards the target. And we don't need that. I think we can do something much simpler, probably. We can just see what direction he's on and then invert it. And if we would land on a solid tile, and if it's not walkable, then yeah, I think a bump towards that position. Yeah, I think we're gonna split that. Bump towards. So let's split this function in two. Yeah, this has a return. So return is the bump on direction. Dx dy. I'm not very sure about this. I think what we can do is like try to find a path. To a safe position, but how to determine that safe position? That's like the difficult part. That's the difficult part. Let's do a simple solution for now. Dx dy. Let's see what where this lands us. So yeah, this is bump towards, and we are going to have another function which is bump away from, and that's the one that we're going to use here. And for now, it's going to be super simple. We'll see if that's good enough. So instead of walking there. Let's just invert it and see how that works. Um, but just to prevent us bumping into walls and stuff like that, let's check if we can walk in that direction first. And we can do that. Let's see. Is there can walk, no, walkable? Let's check the level class. Can walk, can move from to, yeah, level can move from. Okay, so let's check that first. Let's see if is the level that can move from our position towards this direction. And I think the if we can move, then we move. Else we are just going to move randomly. And I would just want to check and confirm that this can move to it's all, yeah, it doesn't check if there's an enemy there, which is fine. Um, this probably should have its own function. We use it in many places. Let's create a function for that. Move randomly. Okay. And yeah, so we use that here. Um, hmm. Let's see how that works. I think that may work. What are we missing? So let's check the diff and see. We are going to, well, this is just adding a lot of hit points to the rat. If we are panicked and there's a nearby target, then we flee. If we are panicked and there's no nearby target, it's like the normal. What's going to happen then? That's a good question. Because when we change alignment, we became the other alignment. So I don't really know what's going to happen if we are panicked, but there's nowhere nearby. It's going to be like because the intent is still going to be the normal intent that the animals have, which is wander. So they're just going to wander, I guess. Okay, let's see how this works. Let's fire this and see how this works. Let's attack the rat again and see what it does. So enter combat mode. And oh, so okay, so we entered combat mode, but we exited immediately because there were no enemies after the first turn. That's kind of okay. All right, so attack this rat. Oh, yeah, that's not good. There was a problem with the sink, and the sprite of the rat ended up in the wrong position. That's the kind of bugs that are pretty hard to debug for this hybrid system, but it's good to know that this is still out there. And let's see how it happened. I think it happened because we went like in and out of combat, and yeah, we are in combat now. And if we move, if we are in combat, so we're fine. So let's go into combat in the middle of a movement from the rat. Oh, I don't know if I did it well. Let's go in and out of combat very quickly. And see, yeah, and see if that messes up with stuff. Yeah, here. All right, so yeah, yesterday I mentioned that I don't even know if I have a backlog. So I'm going to create one. I checked the repo and there's actually something like a backlog here, but it seems all. Let's create a new file. And there's bugs. So sprites get out of sync when entering and leaving combat quickly using C. Check case of neutral enemies around. Hmm. And then there was also this bug we found yesterday. What was it again? I don't remember. Well, we have a backlog now, so we'll be able to take into that. Yeah, okay. So we took note of that. Let's continue testing the flea AI. So let's give this rat some space and let's attack it. Okay, alignments is not defined. Okay. Okay, I missed the reference to constants. Well, many references. So, well, it walked randomly. Because it could not like go the other way. Let's move here and let's do nothing. Yeah, he seems to be moving away. So it's working. It's working. He's moving away from me, fleeing. And if there happens to be okay, so since it's an enemy now, the Shamino is attacking it. I guess he thinks that I should have had a reason to attack the rat. I am the avatar after all, so maybe it's fine. He believes it to be like morally fine to attack this rat. Maybe it's an evil rat or something like that. So he's doing that. And the poor rat is now just going to walk back and forth between us until he dies. It dies. I think that's good enough. I mean, this is more of a fancy scenario. It's not like a critical gameplay scenario. Because normally, if you attack enemies, they are probably going to. Or actually, I think the panic should subside at a certain point. Like if he sees that after some turns he's not able to flee, then he may like gather courage and attack. But let's patch this first. I'm going to also check with the cow. Um, why? I mean, this is working already. This is working already. Okay, but we are already over the half an hour mark. So I'm going to stop the stream here. And yeah, I will continue later tonight. But this is good progress. We managed to create the flea in AI. I'm going just to touch it, and then in the afternoon we can probably polish it a little bit more so that enemies can decide to attack if they see that they are not being able to flee or something like that. So I'll see you in the night.